What's going on, everybody? Flashframe here. Um, it's not very often I do a rant video. I used to a long time ago on my other channel, but I also don't very often make response videos. Um, but this was one that I kind of felt I wanted to touch on. Uh, First things first, this is going to be a response to Bluedrake's total rant, Bluedrake42's total rant on Battlefront, the new Star Wars Battlefront game by DICE, published by EA, of which I am in the beta, and I've been playing pretty much non-stop for about 8 hours now. I will get some footage up of that relatively soon. Anyways, what I wanted to get at here is, first off, Bluedrake42. I didn't think I'd ever be making a video in response to one of yours. Out the gate, I love your videos, man. I agree with a lot of what you say. I agree with even your Battlefront video, which this is a response to, I have a lot of agreement with. There's just a few things that kind of, hey, opinions are opinions, dude, and I totally get that. But there's a couple of things that I feel as a both a Star Wars fan, which I am an avid Star Wars fan, and as a gamer, DICE and EA didn't quite hit an expectation of. So let's get some of the good stuff out of the way first. Right off, the game is gorgeous. If you're looking for a Star Wars experience that is absolutely beautiful, Battlefront is your game. The weapon sounds, the weapon effects, the explosions, the costuming on the characters, the guns, the battlefield pickups, everything that as Bluedrake said, and I will link Bluedrake's video. It is an absolutely beautiful cinematic gaming experience. There are so many times that I've been playing a lot of Walker Assault primarily. I've done some of the little squad versus squad game as well. Great experience. And what Bluedrake says is right. From a gaming perspective, Battlefront is not very deep. It harkens back a little bit to some older types of games where you had the pickups were on the map and in random locations. For the most part, those random locations aren't as random as they seemed like they could have been. And that's in no way a negative. I think that it's good that it's fairly easy to kind of figure out in the general area where a TIE Fighter pickup or an X-Wing pickup or an ATST pickup would be. And for the most part, where things were located made enough sense to me that I've enjoyed almost every minute I've had of the game. There has been some frustration that I've had with the game. Spawn systems definitely need a rework from a gaming perspective. I'm getting off of onto my take of the game, which we'll come back to what I want to kind of reply to Bluedrake on in a moment. Spawn systems need some work. Overall, the balance so far as how guns work versus one another, it feels pretty balanced. This feels a lot like two sides with similar tech coming together on a battlefield, fighting it out, which is what I've always liked about Battlefront. Now, I have been a gamer since, God, 1987, 88. I would have been 3 years old. I've been gaming for years, and I've played Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Battlefront on PSP. So I am versed in my Battlefront, and I didn't expect DICE to give us what LucasArts had given us in any way. Now, okay, let me step back. I knew we weren't going to get the kind of stuff, exactly the kind of stuff that LucasArts was giving us with Battlefront. That's fine. As I think we can all admit, LucasArts wasn't really doing all that well. By the end of its lifespan, I know that a lot of us as fans were kind of hinged on Battlefront 3, and there were some great concepts in Battlefield 3 that I really wish had made it in, which was like the battlefield to space battle gameplay where you could hop in a vehicle, fly off, and fly from the ground up into space and take part in a capital ship battle up in space. You know, dock, repair your ship, fly back down to the planet, and go back and be an infantryman down on the ground. That would have been awesome. So there is a lot of oh, dude, the shit that we missed. It could have been so great. So yeah, as a gamer and as a fan of Battlefront, I mourn the loss of that stuff a little bit. Sure. On the flip side of that token, I was ecstatic to hear that DICE had gotten a hold of Battlefront finally after all of these years. As a Battlefront player, someone that played for a long time on the PS2 and PC, both Battlefront and Battlefront 2. And I still play Battlefront 2 from time to time on PC. It was like, oh, dude, the DICE finally got it. We're finally going to see Battlefield Star Wars. Because that's just kind of what, let's be honest, that's what Battlefront has kind of been to most people, is Battlefront has been Battlefield Star Wars. And I think for the most part, DICE delivers here. I do agree that the gameplay is shallow. That's not, okay, but shallow gameplay isn't necessarily a bad thing. Where I really took offense with not really took offense, but felt that it was time to make a video in response to what Bluedrake's saying here, is Bluedrake, the way you come off with some of what you're saying is that, well, fuck the gamers, this isn't for them. When you're making a game, you should, there's a certain level of expectation of, okay, well, you're making a game, then it should cater to gamers. That doesn't mean you can't casualize it. There are some really good casual games that, dude, Minecraft, you mentioned it in your video. That's a game that is totally fucking casual, and tons of casual people play, but so do some, hardcore gamers, right? So I think it's disingenuous to say, hey, here's a game that's not for gamers. Here's a game that's just for Star Wars fans. That's fine. So was Battlefront and Battlefront 2. You could hand Battlefront or Battlefront 2, the old ones, the LucasArts ones, to anybody at that time and go, here's a combat game set in Star Wars where you get, vehicles and shit, and people could wrap their heads around that. At the time, those games were quite beautiful as well. I don't think you quite remember the nostalgia of getting to go and play on Hoth, back then, or running around Tatooine, or the one Flora planet where Ayla Sakura is the hero character in 2. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I think that Blue Drake, you kind of forgot about. We've been here before. We've already tread this ground. Those games looked great at the time. This game looks great now. 5-10 years down the road, we're going to think this game doesn't look quite as good as it did. Go back and play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Does not look as good as we thought it did. Does it still look decent? Yeah, I'll still go back and play Call of Duty 4. But it's not as good looking now as it was then. And the same is going to be said for Battlefront. Does the game look stunning right now? Yes. Have we had a game that looks this stunning in a long time? Not really. I would say that Metal Gear Solid V might be close. The new Mad Max looks pretty good too. It's not amazing, but it looks pretty good. So, that's a kudos to the game developers right now. They're doing a really good job with what we have and making it work on lower-end hardware. I don't have a GTX 980. I'm running a GTX 670, and I'm getting solid frame rate at almost full graphics in Battlefront in the beta. That's great. So that means that, more casual people can play these games. That's awesome. I want more people to be able to play these games. At the same time, that doesn't mean that the developers should completely ignore the existing fan base that's still there. I'm right there with you, Blue. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, dude. I love me some Star Wars. I've been a part of... I've done some charity work with the Mandalorian Mercs before. I've been in Mandalorian armor running around at charity events. I've been, a Jedi at costuming events and stuff like that. I am a fan. I've read the books. I've watched the shows. And I'm wondering, small side tangent, you never clarify in your video if you mean the Genndy Tartakovsky traditional animated Clone Wars, or if you meant the CGI Ahsoka Tano Clone Wars television series. Two different things. Most of the time when people say Clone Wars, the Clone Wars cartoon is good, they're talking about the Tartakovsky tie-in that Lucas got pissed over because people thought it was better than his movies. Anyways, Star Wars has changed. Star Wars has changed. Star Wars has been changed since Empire, actually. If you go back and you watch the original trilogy, what most people think of as Star Wars is Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Those were not written by George Lucas. And a lot of people don't quite get that, I guess. They think Star Wars, they think George Lucas and all of that. What we think of primarily as Star Wars, I say we as old fans, think of as Star Wars is Empire and Return. A New Hope started the ball rolling, and a lot of that was George. That entire first script was George. The directing was George. And the first film is a great movie, but it doesn't hold a candle to Empire. It doesn't hold a candle to Return of the Jedi. Is it still fond? Are there still fond memories of those? Oh, yeah. Dude, I still love watching Episode 4. But I would rather be watching Episode 5 or 6. So, and then episode 1, 2, and 3, I think we can all universally say were kind of disasters. Even if there's things in those movies that I may like, Darth Maul, double-bladed lightsabers, two-handed saber combat, and some things like that, some costume designs and things of that nature. I think for the most part, there's always going to be a rebellion in a fan base when things don't match up with what came before. If you go back so far as to look at how Yoda is handled in episode 1, 2, and 3, and then you go back and you reread the original Star Wars encyclopedia, Yoda shouldn't be running around with a lightsaber, even. The idea was that Jedi Masters were so strong, they didn't have to resort to combat. So Jedi and Sith, like, high-level fighting master versus master combat would have been something completely different. It wouldn't have boiled down to lightsabers, but it does in the prequels, for whatever reason. And then, I mean, you can look into the expanded universe when George walked in and said, "Oh, kill off that character Anakin Solo because he's going to confuse viewers because people are going to confuse him for Anakin Skywalker." Even though most people that are watching the movies aren't playing the games or reading the books. And I think that is really where I'm coming from with this, Blue, is the people that go and watch the movies are going to go and watch the movies. And their enjoyment of Star Wars, for the most part, is going to end at them going and watching the movies. So anything else that comes out is already aimed at a different niche audience. A game that comes out that's set in the Star Wars universe should not necessarily be aimed at the moviegoers. Now, yes, that's great that you're already technically aiming it at the moviegoers when you've decided I'm using Star Wars as my property. There's already a level, you've got that level of brand recognition now. So if there are moviegoers out there that are like, "Oh, I want to go home and play Star Wars," they're immediately going to gravitate towards something with Star Wars in the title, be it Lego Star Wars, be it the MMO, the Old Republic, whatever. They're going to go and they're going to look for games with Star Wars in the title. And Battlefront, EA's Battlefront, the new one, is certainly the current poster boy for this is a Star Wars game. It looks great. It plays decently. It runs great. And that's great. It's accessible. It's easy to play. Even on PC, I've been playing with my Xbox 360 pad on PC and doing okay. That means that the skill gap between a mouse and keyboard player and a gamepad player in Battlefront isn't that big. That's important. That's accessible. That's good. But I think it's disingenuous for you to say, this isn't for me. This isn't for the gamer. Because it is. The minute you've made a game, you've made it for the gamer. Is it pretty? Yeah. That's great. We want our games to be pretty. Does it play well? Yeah, it plays well. That's perfect. We want our games to play well. But that doesn't mean there can't be more depth to the game. One of the things too that is one of the big some of the big complaints that's coming out of the Battlefront haters right now. Here's what's going on. You've got a group of us that really wanted to see certain features return from the old games. Where's Galactic Conquest? That was a great game mode from Battlefront 2 that we wanted. A lot of us wanted to see back. Go fight a couple of fights over a planet, go do a space battle, and now you have a planet. That planet generates resources to allow you to move further into the universe. That's gone. There's no story mode. There are a lot of us that absolutely love playing. Sure, we love playing Rebels and Stormtroopers, Rebels and Imperials, but what about people that want to play droids and Galactic Republic? What about them? We're not getting droids or Galactic Republic. Why not? Why can't we have Clone Wars era stuff too? There are mods for Battlefront 2 that allow you to do Old Republic era stuff. Why don't we, why aren't we tapping that in this game? There's a wide amount of the Star Wars lexicon and universe that was available to the Battlefront team, available to DICE and EA, that didn't get touched. And that's where a lot of people are upset. It's not that the game's gonna suck. This is DICE. This is their shit. They do Battlefield-esque games great. I mean, yeah, Hardline sucked. And I think as a PC gamer, it shows, because there's not a player base on PC right now for Hardline. I played the beta for Hardline and I was not impressed. But on the same token, so anyways, you can't say that Battlefront doesn't play particularly well, because it plays just fine. And it looks decent. But that's not what PC gamers wanted. So you're saying that DICE made something that's meant to be art. Well, yeah, video games are art. We don't even need to have that conversation. You said that DICE made something that's meant to be taken in small doses, and oh wow, ooh, ah. Maybe. But it could have been deeper, and it should have been deeper, especially coming from DICE. I think that's where you're going to catch a lot of flack, Bluedrake. So, now let me wind it back a bit. I agree with a good 95% of your video on this matter, and I'm definitely going to link to it in the description for this video. You bring up some great points. You bring up some stuff about this isn't the old, this isn't LucasArts. No, it's not. That's very true. We're not going to get what LucasArts would have given us, and I don't think that we should necessarily want what LucasArts was going to give us. On the same token, I do think that we should have gotten more than what this game is going to offer. If you're making a game, you're making a game that gamers are going to play first. You're not going to get a big influx of buyers of this game that just go watch the movie. You're going to get a big influx of buyers, of people who have fond memories of Battlefront, who have fond memories of Star Wars, and want to relive those memories on the digital battlefield. And I think that I do think that Battlefront 2015 is going to offer that to us. If the hours I have spent playing this game are any indication, this is a great Star Wars game in general. It might not be particularly deep. It might not be particularly competitive, even though it is. And I agree with what you were saying too, that it's art and you're supposed to be wowed, but if DICE defeats itself by grabbing onto that idea because they've given us stats and a score screen. Now, if they just said, go fight this battle, whoever wins, wins, and they don't track our stats, they didn't track our stats, there was no level mechanics, none of that, then I would agree with you 100% on that point, Blue. I would. But they give us stat tracking. They give us levels. They give us a meaningful reason to play the game, which shoots them in the foot for that defense. So, is Battlefront going to be a bad game? No, I do not think it's going to be a bad game in the least. Is Bluedrake wrong on any of his points? Not really. Let's be honest. It's opinions. Am I wrong on any of my points? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But that's a personal thing. That's a personal opinion thing. And right now, as it sits, Battlefront, EA's Battlefront, DICE's Battlefront is the best Star Wars experience that I have played in a long time. And I've played The Old Republic, I've played KOTOR 1 and 2, played Republic Commando, all those things. Which Republic Commando is hugely underrated, and if you haven't played it, you totally should. Karen Travis is awesome with those kind of storylines. Anyways, Battlefront is going to be a great game that could have been even better, is the problem. Is that going to stop me from playing this? No. Is that going to stop me from holding out that maybe we'll get some DLC that maybe adds a Galactic Conquest mode or Clone Wars era characters and armies and more planets and more stuff like that? No. I'm really going to hold on to the hope that that's a thing. So Bluedrake, thank you. Thank you very much for making the video that you made. You made some very good points, even if it was just one of your rants. I want to say what's up from the Equestriani Royal Joint Task Force, the ERJT. I play on y'all's server on Free Candy Van a lot over on Project Reality. Thanks for getting me into that as well. And your covering on Squad and stuff like that. Which, by the way, those of us that complain a lot and you're like, where were we? Well, sometimes we just don't have money. Other times we do back these other projects. I'm planning on putting into Squad pretty soon, dude. Money's an issue at the moment. So, it is what it is. Again, thanks for doing the video, dude. Thank you guys for checking out my video. Go ahead, feel free to check out my channel, guys. Just because I run with a pony theme and all that doesn't mean that my videos are going to be super pony related. Just so you know, I'm a gamer first when it comes to playing my games. The pony thing is just it's a thing, dude. I gotta rock I gotta be true to my fandoms, and I like me some ponies. So, anyways, this was Flash Frame. I'm out. Probably, dude. I'm going back into fucking Battlefront because this game is great. So at the end of the day, fucking game's great, guys. Pick it up. It's gonna be good. If you want a deeper experience, wait. Let's see where the DLC takes us. But I am definitely getting in on day one for this. So yeah, this is Flash Frame. Take it easy, guys, and catch y'all later.